Congressman Debbie Dingell, 6th District, Michigan. Welcome to MeidasTouch.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
It's so nice of you to do this because Michigan is obviously at least one of the three most important states in the 2024 election, and there's been a big change. So a couple of weeks ago, Joe Biden was within maybe a point or two of Donald Trump. Have you seen a change since we switched over to Kamala Harris?
So anybody who knows me knows I'm pretty honest. Michigan has a lot of energy. There was a lot of excitement. I was many places this weekend, from farmers markets to union halls and union picnics and veterans halls. And there's an energy that I haven't seen in the last or at least the last month. But I want to make it really clear, Michigan's still a purple state. We got a lot of work to do. We got to roll up our sleeves. And we really have to educate voters, one, about the contrast between issues, and two, why their vote matters.
So let's take this time then, Congresswoman, to educate people. So Kamala Harris comes in. We don't know yet who the VP is. I personally love Gretchen Whitmer, but I don't know that she's going to be getting that nod. But
let me say this very clearly. She is not interested. She is not being vetted. She is not a candidate for vice president.
You want to make me cry on this Zoom? Don't make me cry on this Zoom.
I don't mean to make you cry, but you keep saying it. Nobody believes it.
I know. But I think she's fantastic. And Michigan.
And I do too. I love her. She's my friend, been my friend.
So how do we, now that we've switched candidates, how do we capitalize on the excitement in Michigan? What are we missing? What do we need to do better?
So one of the things we really have to do is go out and talk about the issues. Too many people do not understand. Let's start with Trump Project 2025. When I'm in the union halls, the union members do not understand that Donald Trump wants to eliminate overtime. We have to we have to just be point blank about what's at stake. When I'm with seniors, they really do not understand that people want to eliminate Social Security, cut Social Security, privatize Social Security. We have to go through each stakeholder group and talk about what their policies would do, what is there in writing, and what the vision and the future is that we want to keep building on, the building blocks that have been implemented by President Joe Biden.
So Joe Biden, obviously a successful economy. No one likes inflation, but generally speaking, the most successful economy in the world, right, of all the major countries. And then Donald Trump wants to come in and do what you said, which is eliminate things like overtime, Social Security, privatizing Social Security. Let's talk about a couple of other things. In terms of Michigan, obviously a big union state, right? How would the policies of Donald Trump, according to Project 2025, how is that going to hurt the people in your district?
Well, it's not. Union workers will be deeply impacted, from benefits to health care to the right to organize. Donald Trump wants to cut the taxes of billionaires, help incentivize companies to locate overseas, which is what he did with his tax bill when he was president of the United States. And that's what we've got to talk about. What I do want this campaign to be is about civility and respect and facts, and the real facts. And that's what we have to do when we go in these union halls and we talk to members. They need to know that we care and that we're going to fight for them. And they do not know how much has happened during the last 4 years. We have not done a good job, quite frankly, in communicating what was in the bipartisan infrastructure bill, what was in the IRA, how we have lowered prescription drugs, what we're doing to get lead out of pipes, clean water, build out infrastructure, etc.
You know, it's interesting. Why do we think we don't do the best job of communicating this? In other words, we have the best communicators, right? We've got people like you, the great people in Michigan, smart people working in the administration. You have the support of many people in the entertainment industry who know how to communicate better than anybody. Why are we missing this? I feel like every cycle we get into this that we're missing our accomplishments. How do you think we change that?
So I want to start with what one of the issues was. The money that came in those two bills came from the federal government in grants to either the states or to local levels of government, which quite frankly at times took credit for those dollars rather than saying this is happening because of federal dollars. And many people don't, one of the things that we all need to understand is people are hurting. COVID was a horrific time in this country. It impacted every workplace, it impacted every industry, it impacted every worker. We are now seeing workers get increases in their salaries, but we've had a lot of companies have been price gouging. When they go to the grocery store, they're hurting. I go every Sunday morning. People come to see me. They want to show me what's in their groceries cart and how it's the money they're making is covering less. We need to understand and talk about what we're going to do and how we are helping them and what we have done on the economy versus what happened during the last Trump administration.
Yeah, it's really incredible when you look at the numbers of what's happened under Biden versus what's happened under Trump, and just the economic numbers that came out recently that are really, really, really strong. You mentioned incivility, and you mentioned civility, and that we need to talk to people in a civil way, which of course, we agree that that's true. Some of the incivility we see, though, Congresswoman, seems to be coming from Congress, from some of the people that you might be on the opposite side of the aisle from. How do we bring Congress back toward being more civil?
Congress means coming together. I'm somebody who works with everybody. I respect everybody. I spend a lot of time on the Republican side of the aisle. I have very good friends on both sides. Fred Upton was my best friend. Bills that I introduce, I try to do as many as I can in a bipartisan way, both when we were in the majority and in the minority. We have to make a deliberate intent to talk to each other, listen to each other, bring people to the table that have different life experiences, find that common ground. That's what we're not doing enough of right now in this country. It is too easy to bully. The division scares me. We got to lower the temperature and address this vitriolicness that we see, period.
So let me ask you though, how do we do that? In other words, things have clearly in the last 5 or 6 years or 8 years, become a little more difficult in terms of the way people see each other and talk to each other, and that lack of civility that you're talking about. And you may be a role model for this type of civil behavior. We're not seeing it as much in the rest of the country. So how do we change it? Do you think that, for example, Congress has a responsibility to show that civil behavior as an example to the rest of the country?
I absolutely think that we need to, and we need to dial it down and try to work together. There are clearly some people in the Congress that are more interested in creating chaos than getting the job done. And I don't approve of that. I try to talk to every member. Chip Roy's office is across from mine, and we're good friends. I have many friends in the Freedom Caucus. Unfortunately, I've had people that have gone after me, and I try to respectfully listen to them, but I'm not going to be bullied either. And I think that's something we've got to do, is to make an effort to lower this tone, this vitriolicness that we are seeing in this country.
Well, even in your home state of Michigan, we've seen it even go beyond words, right? Governor Whitmer and the attempted kidnapping. Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State of Michigan, received some very real death threats. In your own state, are you seeing this as is it a little bit worse, you think, than the rest of the country? Or do you think that it's basically the same and we need to fix this too in Michigan?
I think we need to fix it throughout the country. After I said men didn't belong at the state capitol with assault weapons, 2 men were in front of my home that night with assault weapons. I, too, the same people that threatened to kidnap Governor Whitmer on that same internet said that I should be hung. So the former president has gone after me more than once in ways that does incite people. But we've got to, I meet with everybody and anybody. And I think it's really important to be willing to do that. I've had town halls where people have come in and tried to disrupt them. And I say to them, look, I will meet with you. This town hall is on this subject. And let's stay to that subject when I've got the experts there. But I'll meet with you. I'll meet you within my office. I try to go where I know people do disagree with me.
Yeah.
I go in those UAW halls. The veterans I'm pretty close to. But, by listening to the veterans, I know when there are problems. I know when there are issues that need to be addressed. The unions here in this state know that I do not BS them. I want to know what's on their mind. The reason I predicted that Donald Trump would win in 2016 is I was in those union halls. And I think Democrats did a terrible job of talking about trade in 2016. And those workers had seen their jobs shipped overseas. They were scared about the jobs that they have. Were they going to be shipped? More of them going to be shipped? How secure were their jobs? And by the way, we got that problem again.
We do. So what is the messaging that we need to have then that's effective to the very people that you're talking about who might have voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and maybe looking to that again?
So I think we need to show them what happened to protect their jobs during the 4-year Biden administration, the trade policies that we have put into place, and how we're going to continue to do that. The fact that, okay, let's talk about the United Auto Workers, how Joe Biden was the first president in presidential history to walk a picket line with those union voters, how we need to address that China should not be able to use the USMCA to build plants in Mexico and bring their cars into this country. How are we going to compete with the Chinese? But we will. The Democrats know that we have got to address that issue. And that's what we've got to be willing and prepared to talk turkey about when we're in the union halls with auto workers, when we're talking about our utilities, building the resilience of our grid and keeping those jobs here. We need to talk about jobs and making sure that everybody is making a living wage.
Congresswoman, you make good points, great points about the auto workers and how we need to constantly fight to make sure that people understand all the work that's been done by Democrats, by the Biden administration, by you. Just one last question before we go. Is the University of Michigan going to be able to stay on top of football, or is it going to fall now that Harbaugh's gone? Is it over? Or?
It is go blue time. I keep telling Democrats we should have that as our theme, go blue. Our new coach, the new football coach, Sean, is a great guy. He was my guest at the State of the Union this year. I love this football team. They're my kids, and they're going to work hard. It's a new season. We've got new players in that we're going to be. It's now not the Big Ten, it's the Big 12. But I'm going to tell you, we got a team that's great. We're fired up, ready to go, and it's going to be go blue all season.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you for joining us. You do a great job in Michigan. I know you're going to be reelected this fall. Democrats have to win in your state up and down the ballot. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.